Have you ever walked in on something so shocking that it changed everything you thought you knew about your family? That's exactly what happened to me. What I discovered not only shattered my trust, it led to a confrontation that spiraled out of control. Growing up, my mom was my rock. She raised me on her own after my dad left, and we had an unbreakable bond, or so I thought. When she remarried a few years ago, I was happy for her. Her new husband, Dave, seemed like a decent guy, and I got along well with his son, Jake, who was around my age. At first, everything felt like a fresh start. We were blending into a family, and while it wasn't perfect, it felt stable. Jake and I became close friends, almost like real brothers. But over time, I started noticing small things, strange looks between my mom and Jake, whispered conversations that stopped the moment I walked into the room. I brushed it off, thinking I was imagining things. But then the clues became harder to ignore. One day I came home earlier than expected. The house was quiet, too quiet. As I walked toward the living room, I heard muffled voices coming from the back. Something told me to check it out, so I moved quietly, my heart pounding in my chest. What I saw froze me in place. My mom and Jake were together. It wasn't just inappropriate, it was a betrayal on every level. My hands were shaking as I tried to process what I was seeing. Before I could stop myself, I burst into the room yelling, "What the hell is going on here?" Jake tried to calm me down, but I wasn't hearing it. The rage took over, and before I knew it, I had swung at him. He went down hard, and the room erupted into chaos. My mom screamed at me, but all I could focus on was the sheer betrayal of it all. I couldn't keep this secret to myself. That night, I sat down with Dave and told him everything. He didn't believe me at first. Who would? But the truth has a way of coming out. When Dave confronted my mom and Jake, their guilty faces said it all. The fallout was devastating. Dave packed his bags and left, vowing never to look back. My mom tried to justify her actions, saying it was a moment of weakness and begging me to forgive her. But how could I? How do you forgive something like this? The family I thought I had was gone. I moved out soon after, cutting all ties with my mom and Jake. For a long time, I felt like I had no one, no family, no support system, nothing. But over time, I realized that walking away was the only way to heal. Jake tried reaching out a few times, but I ignored him. As far as I'm concerned, he's not my brother anymore. My mom? I haven't spoken to her since that day. Looking back, I don't regret confronting them. Some truths need to come out, no matter how painful they are. But I do wonder, what would you do if you were in my shoes? Would you confront them or keep the secret to yourself?